Hey folks, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Dee and I make lifestyle content on my health, my fitness, and my everyday life. Although I should probably switch that order around because I haven't really been filming much of me working out because I feel like it's been boring lately. But nonetheless, why am I here before you today? I wanted to do another story time because it's just really fun to think about these experiences and the fact that I was able to get through them. So hopefully this is going to be a short one for you today, but I'm going to be talking about two experiences. So one, my experiences with homeless folks, like transients, and that time I had to deal with bats in the gym. Bats with an S, okay? It wasn't just one, it was like 3. But anyways, if you like story times, if you watched my first one, I'll link it somewhere, either in the video, down below, wherever, then keep on watching. So I feel like I'm laughing and smiling a lot because when I think about these experiences, I just can't believe that I actually went through them. And I feel like I'm honestly the type of person that whenever things happen, because I can't necessarily say that they're bad. I mean, yeah, it's one thing to deal with bats and it's another thing to deal with homelessness. But I'm not like a bad luck Charlie kind of person, you know what I mean? But I feel like I'm the kind of person that when weird crap happens, it happens to me. When like no one that I know is around and none of that kind of stuff. But anyways, as I mentioned earlier, this video is going to be all about kind of my experiences with homeless folks and time I had to deal with bats. So I'll start with if you are someone who is not all that familiar with Austin or even like Texas in general, Austin is very big on bats. Every night, I'm pretty sure, they have under Congress Bridge, like that's where like all the bats basically live. And so around like 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, you can kind of congregate on a hill that's like underneath the bridge and just kind of watch the bats. You can hear them, you can see them, you know, all that kind of stuff. And they don't really bother you, right? Like bats, just like any kind of animal or bug, really aren't going to actively bother you unless they see you as like a food source or a threat. But with the bats, completely fine. Like they're really friendly. They're actually very small and, you know, they can be kind of cute creatures. I ain't trying to have one as a pet, but you know, they serve a purpose. They eat bugs and stuff and whatever. But anyways, so bats are a thing here, you know, in the Austin area. Knowing that bats were around was not something that was really scary or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like I said, Austin is kind of known for its bats. It's a tourist attraction here. On this particular evening, of course, people are in the gym, working out, doing their thing, you know. I am an associate that's working there, just, you know, checking people in, talking to people, helping people, you know, doing the regular thing that you do when you work at a gym. Tell me why a bat decided to fly in during my shift. And this was during a time when it's like 7, 8 o'clock. So like there were still kind of some other team members there. So I wasn't exactly by myself, which was nice. But the problem is that there was a bat in the gym. Okay, and there were patrons there, and I mean this just so happened to happen on a night when there were a lot of people in there. So of course it's a bat. It's gonna swoop down really quick. It's just gonna be really quick with its movements and everything, and that's exactly what was happening. So you would hear people kind of like freak out in the gym. Oh gosh. That really happened. Like a bat came in the freaking gym. But yeah, people were freaking out. And we're like, oh my gosh, there's a bat in here. Like, what do we do? And then people told me, because like I didn't see the bat come in, right? Because I'm dealing with people and, you know, just kind of distracted and stuff. Bat comes in, people are freaking out. And it's not like the bat is like threatening anybody or attacking anybody. It's literally just flying around in an enclosed space. And if you've ever dealt with a bird or a bat or any kind of like big bug, when they're in an enclosed space, even though it's a large kind of warehouse, you know, gym area, it's gonna seem like they're really threatening because you're in this confined space and they're just, you know, flapping their wings and going really quick and stuff. So it seems really scary, but when you come to think of it, it's like it feels trapped, so it's just gonna, you know, fly around until it can find a way out. The best like kind of course of action for us at this time was to try to shoo it out. We weren't trying to catch it, we weren't trying to kill it, we were just trying to shoo it out because we're like, okay, we have 2 ways of getting out of this building, so we need to try to use a broom or something to try to get it out. But the problem with that is that we didn't have a broom that was long enough because the bat kept congregating to the top of the, you know, to the ceiling. So we're just in the gym trying to like shoo it out, trying to guide it out of the gym and everything, while also not trying to injure any of our patrons and their experience. So we're just, swatting this thing and trying to, guide it out the door and stuff. We don't end up getting it out. So we're like, okay, we're going to keep an eye out on it. And since I was the overnight person, I was like, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on it, make sure that it doesn't really hurt anybody, or that I can just kind of keep an eye on it. So that if I have the chance to kind of shoo it out, then I can take that opportunity and get it out. So then people don't feel too, nervous and stuff about working out and thinking that a bat's gonna land on their shoulder. So we eventually don't get it out that night. But the best thing is that like 2 more bats came into the gym. So then that's when I started to tell people that they needed to leave, because I was just like, I don't want anybody to get hurt, and I feel like we need to shut the gym down. Now, mind you, by the time these other bats, like 1 or 2 bats came in, the majority of the patrons that were there when the first bat came in were gone. So I straight up would tell people like, there are bats in here. So like, if you're not comfortable with working out, I suggest you leave, but we're gonna try to like shoo this out. So I'm sure that you're wondering, oh, Dee, why didn't you get animal control and all of that? Because animal control is pointless as hell, that's why. So, and the reason for it is because they were the first people that we called. We were like, we have bats in our gym, and like there are patrons here, like they paid to use the facilities here. So is someone gonna come out here and get this bat? And they were like, oh, well, what you can do is just try to catch it, but there's not really much that we can do. I'm like, well, then what is the point of y'all and animal control if you're not gonna control the animals? You know what I mean? Long story short, we eventually are able to shoot all of the bats out. But let me tell y'all, baby, my heart was pounding because I was so afraid that someone was going to injure themselves or get so scared that they get a heart attack or a panic attack or something, you know what I mean, that was going to truly affect them and their experience at the gym. And I knew for a fact I was not going to be able to kill a bat. Like, even if they said, oh yeah, you have to kill the bat, I would have been like, nope, I'm sorry. I would have left the job that day if they told me that I needed to kill an animal, because I'm not about that life. But yeah, like I said, long story short, we were able to shoo the bats out eventually, but I think it took like a day because they kept but I'm gonna tell you right now, that was stressful as hell, y'all, because I'm okay with animals, but like a bat, I'm just like, no, like bats can carry disease just like a cat can carry disease, a dog can carry disease and all of that. So I'm like, I have all of these things in mind because I'm like, oh my gosh, my heart's pumping. I don't want the bat to get hurt. I don't want to accidentally kill the bat because that is just going to F me up psychologically. I don't want it to mess with the patrons and injure them, or because of the situation that they injure themselves, you know what I mean? Like, all these different things are kind of swirling in my mind. I'm glad to report that we were able to actually get them out. Animal control was useless as hell, okay, super useless, but we were able to do what we needed to do and get them out. That was my first and hopefully last experience. I don't ever want to deal with that again. So, on to homeless folks. Now, I mentioned this in the previous video when I talked about the woman who threatened to kill me and whatnot, that the location of this Planet Fitness was at an intersection where there were quite a few transient people. So on the other side of the highway where the gym was, there was actually a bus depot. It's not like the buses were running like all night or anything like that, but typically with like any sort of public transportation, regardless of the city, you're gonna have a bit of a congregation of transient folks. So I remember when I first got hired, my GM, the general manager, store manager, told me straight up that like homeless people is kind of an issue in the area just because there's so many, unfortunately. And so you're gonna have to really be on watch overnight because, they see that the lights are on and really like the only place in the area that is open, especially on colder nights. So they're gonna try to come in, they're gonna try to sleep in the bathroom and the locker rooms and all this other stuff. I think I had maybe about 3 or 4 incidents with homeless folks. So the first one, I think this happened within the first week that I worked there. This homeless guy came in, and even though I had been told, okay, like don't let them use the bathroom, don't let them come in, yada, 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 I was still kind of like in this courteous sort of state. So a homeless guy comes in and he's like, hey, can I use your bathroom? I was like, I shouldn't let you come in here, but whatever, be really quick about it. So he goes back, uses the bathroom. I completely forget about him until another patron comes to me and says, there's a man passed out in the bathroom. I tried like talking to him and stuff, but like he's not answering. I don't know if he's dead, but I wanted to bring it to your attention. So I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, do I have to call the cops on this man? Now, mind you, I was like, oh, I'm very much like a rule follower, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really break rules like that. And I mean, I'm sure there are rules that I break that I'm not aware of, but I do try to like stay in line with rules and whatnot. And so this is a men's bathroom, so like I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm a woman, I don't want to go in there, even though this man's life could be at danger and stuff. I'm thinking to myself, well, I can't go in there because I'm a woman, you know what I mean? And I also didn't want to expose my eyeballs to something I did not want to see, okay? But so I go in there, I knock on the door, and I say, sir, you need to come up out of the bathroom or I'm gonna have to call the cops. There's no response. So I'm thinking to myself, OMG, OMG. So I called the cops and I said, there's a man here that's not responsive. Myself and a patron of the gym have tried to talk to him and whatnot. He's just passed out on the toilet, whatever. So the cops eventually come, they escort him out. Come to find out, he's really just drunk as a skunk and just passed out. And, the cops escort him out, right? Like, he wasn't under arrest or anything. They were basically like, you have to leave, sir. Like, you cannot get drunk and sleep in a gym bathroom. So of course, after that, I was like, well, screw, gender roles and gender norms and gender rules and all that kind of stuff, because I was like, I'm not trying to have somebody die on my watch, okay? So I was like, I'm going up in and up out of these bathrooms all night, because I'm like, I ain't trying to have nothing happen. You know what I'm saying? So that was the first kind of like homeless person situation that I had. Another one was a regular. Now, there were certain homeless folks that would try to like bum rush all the time. Like, they were habitual offenders. And there was this one lady who used to try to come in and use the bathroom. Now, as I said in that last video, I'm gonna try to keep this as PG-13 as I possibly can, okay? Because this woman was a trip. There's several things that went on with her. The first thing was she always tried to come in and she called me a because I wouldn't let her use the bathroom. And because I guess other people in the past had let her use it, she was like, well, other people have allowed me to do it. Like, why do you have to be such a about it? You're such a for not letting me use the bathroom. And I said, do you have a gym membership? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I can look up your name and everything and check you in. And she was like, okay. And so I bring it up, and the homegirl has a membership, but it's been expired. So I was like, well, your gym membership is expired and you have to be a patron to, she's like, no, I don't want to have to do that, blah, blah, blah. So that was her first thing, right? Like, she's just rude. She was straight up a Karen, right? Like, oh, I've done this at other places, like, or other people have done this for me. Why aren't you? You're such a about it. Okay, whatever. Call me whatever you want, lady, but you're not gonna like get injured or something happen to you on my watch. Like, no. Most of the time, like, I would have to look out for her because I knew for a fact that she would try to come in with like everybody else. And so one time I did actually see her come in, and she was like speed walking to the bathroom. And I was in the middle of helping other customers. So I was like, well, I can't just like be like, oh, sorry, screw you. I gotta go catch this woman and yell at her and stuff. So I finished kind of dealing with my customer, and I go back and I said to her, ma'am, you know exactly who you are and you need to leave immediately. So at that time, she was on the toilet, doing number 2. And the only reason why I knew that is because I could hear it, okay? I could hear it. Now, this woman was also known for taking massive dumps in the bathroom, and just like, it was code brown, okay? And there was one time where I had to clean it up. It's not fun, okay? Because the thing is, like, we have a cleaner, and we would have a cleaner that came in and would like clean and stuff, but most of the time you as like the sales associate or whatever would have to clean up the stuff yourself. Now mind you, it wasn't like she was putting poop all over the walls and the floors and stuff. It's just like she was taking a doo-doo, not flushing it really, or not flushing it completely, and then it would either get clogged, or if it did get clogged, and then like it would come up when someone else would try to flush, and then, some stuff might have come out onto the floor, you know what I'm saying? That kind of situation would happen. So that was the second thing that she was known. So one, she was rude. She was straight up Karen, probably the first Karen I've ever met in my life, probably. I don't know, maybe not. I probably ran into a lot of Karens when I was working in Pennsylvania. Yeah, so she was rude, always called me a B because I just wouldn't let her in, even though there were rules for not letting people in. 2, she was known for her code brown situation. I think she only got past me like once or twice. And both times it was like code brown. What did I do to deserve this? You know what I mean? And then the third thing that she was known for, and when I say known, it's either known by me because it was just something that I would just always have to deal with, or maybe somebody else. If she did eventually get past you and say she was done with code brown and no one had kicked her out just yet, she liked to stay in the bathroom and have fun with herself. Wink, wink. You know what I mean? And ma'am, this is a public area. Someone else's behind is going to be sitting on this toilet. Is going to be breathing in the same air that you put out. Why did you think that the bathroom was the best place for you to have a fun time with yourself? Y'all, let me tell you, and a lot of this stuff that happened to me happened within the first month. I think the first night, the story that I just told you about the guy who was drunk and passed out in the bathroom, that either happened to me either the first or second night. I cannot remember. I think it was somewhere, like I said, it was within the first week. It definitely happened because I remember just being like, oh my gosh, am I really gonna have to deal with this over, however long I decide to work here. So I'm sure that there were some other times when, homeless folks were trying to get past me and there were issues and whatnot, but those are the ones that kind of stuck out in my mind that I can remember. But anyways, I have one more story time that's coming up because I just do. Because like I said, the experiences that I had when I worked at this gym was insane. But in the next story time, which will probably come out in a couple of weeks, I'll be talking about how an Uber driver dropped off her ride at the gym because it's the only place that was open at the time, and the girl that was in the car was just an absolute train wreck. So I can talk about that because that was probably like a 2 to 3 hour ordeal dealing with this woman. I can also talk about my crazy coworkers and how one of them went to jail for murder, okay? For unaliving someone, since that's the term that we're kind of using these days. And just kind of the craziness that happened at Planet Fitness. We're gonna end on an even crappier note with these story times. My name is Dee. Thanks for kicking it with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.